Hey, it's Beverly with the Intuitive Interior and wanted to give you the I Ching forecast for December 2020. Now, this time period, because it's different from the standard calendar that we use in pretty much everywhere else in the world, the Chinese lunar calendar, it goes from December 7th through January 4th. Yes, that's right. And we're going to be in the metal rat or excuse me, the Earth rat month in a metal rat year. I know. So, what does that mean? It means basically all the stuff that you've been dealing with all year long, amplify it. I know it's like, yay! So happy about that. Um, but I drew three cards from my Tao Oracle deck. And the first one is card number 32. This one is called duration. It the words that are associated with this are constancy, continuity, endurance, perseverance, maturity, strengthening, stability, and a deep commitment. Um, the focus line on this particular one is number, what did I get on there? 6. And so you can look that up, if you want to do like a deeper dive into it. But the reality of this card is that um, there's been a lot happening, and we have to maintain maturity, focus, and deep rootedness, conviction in what are we going for? What is our end goal? Is this to grow your business? Is this to get a new relationship? Are you in a relationship? Is this moving in the direction you want? What about a business partnership? The essence of this card is stability. That's why you see these four mountains on there. Each of those mountains is representing a different season. And so, as you know, everyone has a season to life and a season to connection that you've got. Um, so I think this one line is really important in the book. It says growth requires putting down roots, and that means making wholehearted commitment. We're not really used to being, told what to do. You just have to watch the news to see just how much we don't like being told what to do. um, But the reality is, in order to really maintain a long term business partnership, a long term marriage, a long term partnership, the goal of that has to be greater than the day to day, ripples and waves. So let me just read what this says for the focus line. It says, succumbing to continued restlessness undermines your credibility. Although you're always on the go, a lack of commitment to details keeps tripping you up. Persisting in this way will simply expose the fact that you're not ready to take on greater responsibilities. The way that I again interpret this is, first and foremost, you have to get real with yourself. What is it that you want? Are you going for something because other people have told you this is what you're supposed to be doing? Or is that are you really truly in deep, full, conscious integrity with yourself? If you are, make that commitment and just move ahead. Okay, the next card, I thought this was kind of fun, is the card number 31. I haven't drawn this one yet, but this is called influence. The influence, the words associated with this card are courtship, mutual attraction, genuine affection, natural magnetism, stimulation, and connecting. Sounds like, you know, quite the lovey dovey card for this season of holidays. And we've got Christmas and all the other good stuff in here. We have solstice coming up. We have the new year. And of course, the media and other social cues are all telling you you need to be in that relationship. You've got to make that big grand gesture, show people that you love them. In politics, you have to, toe that line. You have to make sure that you stay true blue or true red, and I don't know, purple's a really good color too, I think. But here's the thing with this card. It is again talking about commitment and focusing on what is it that's truly important. Um, it is okay. The danger once our desire for meaningful relationships can become distorted by a preference for flawless fantasies over human realities. Um, the perfectionism, not only in how you want yourself to look and feel and act, and how you expect others to look and feel and act, is a trap that we have been. It has been something we've been fed. So again, there are always going to be deal breakers. There are always going to be those pieces that, you know what? I'm a fairly tall woman. I probably wouldn't be super happy uh, in a relationship where the the guy was super short. I don't. It depends on what else is going on. I don't know. That's we all have our preferences. Um, Fortunately, my husband of almost 30 years is nice and tall, so didn't have to worry about overcoming that. Anyway, the this focus line is the line number 2, and this says when an attraction is particularly strong and compelling, it has an almost hypnotic power. It takes a special quality of alertness not to fall into a deep sleep of wish fulfilling fantasies. If you're feeling particularly dreamy these days, consider pinching yourself from time to time, if for no other reason than to remind yourself that you're still here. And by that, it means here on planet Earth. Uh, I've noticed that we've all noticed, our friends, when they get into a new relationship, they become almost, well, they're truly they're not here. They're living in almost a fantasy land. Even as someone is trying to date someone or find that right partner, they can idealize the eventual outcome of that relationship, making sure that everything is again very grounded. Back to that mountain. It's hugely important. The third card that I drew, number 62, small is beautiful. These footwords are find the extraordinary in the ordinary, keep it simple, use discretion, slow down, tend to the details, and pay attention. Again, theme of what is it that you are needing? What are you noticing? What are you bringing in? And what are you, where is your focus? Uh, the first sentence of this little piece here, I love it. It says anything you take on right now should be handled as if it were butterflies wings. It is a delicate time, and it requires realistic consideration of both your limitations and capacities so that you can be honest about what you can and can't do, and be conscientious but be true to yourself first. um the The problem with this time of year is there's an expectation that you need to be all to everybody and do it all perfectly in order to do it right. Um, I actually found myself being a little frustrated, just kind of beating myself up a little bit because I really wanted to get this video done a few days ago. Even though technically the energies don't really shift into this until the 7th, I had set a goal for myself. and it was not possible to do that and to do this all well and to get everything else done. I've really been having to honor my body's needs for the timing that quite frankly it requires to handle everything else that's been going on. Um, and clearly, this card was a good reminder, not just for myself, but maybe for you too, because this is a focus line 3, and this says you have seriously overextended yourself. Continuing in this driven manner will be disastrous. Better to back off than to risk a head on collision. So if you are getting too caught up in the holiday decorating frenzy or the making sure that you're uh, doing everything for everybody, trying to you know outdo what you did last year, you may want to just take another piece of advice and relax and just breathe. The admonition in that reading spoke a lot about coming back into connection with your breath. Perfect little instantaneous meditation, being mindful about it, especially when you're behind the wheel. Please be careful. I've seen way too many unconscious drivers running around. Um, then I drew another card because I love this Sacred Rebels deck, kind of just to give that extra little oomph for what else is the flavor of the upcoming month and in the future. This was card 22. She feels, she knows. I've been taking a lot of classes again because, me being a little bit of a seminar junkie. Um, but one of the things that we are really discussing a lot in these feng shui circles is that there's an overall energy shift. If any of you pay attention to astrology, there have been a lot of talk about, the age of Aquarius is upon us, the patriarchy is over, woo, whatever. Okay. Um, it is the switch over from the time when everything is very masculine. I mean, it's push, push, push. You gotta just drive on through and get it done. And and if that piece doesn't fit, well, you just smash it in there and make it fit. Um, the switch over now the is to a more collaborative approach. Uh, Many people are talking about this and referring to it as a more feminine approach. Again, it's that yin and yang. We've been in a very, very yang way of being for a very long time. We're now moving to the wisdom of the way of yin. And this card specifically, the she feels, she knows, is speaking to the wisdom of working together, of being interdependent, of being collaborative, and of focusing more on the needs of the many rather than the whims of the few. That ain't gonna fly for a lot of folks because they've really gotten used to things being their way, exactly the way they wanted it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of fall into that category too. So there's going to be this adjustment period. This card really hammers that home. Um, the it's talking this the reading part in here speaks greatly about looking forward, looking long term, being patient now while things are switching up and changing and, dare I say, dissolving in front of your eyes. There's not going to be the same normal that we had before. We're never going to go back to the way things used to be prior to COVID. We even if COVID never was here, we were never going to go back to the way things are because this is part of the feng shui, the wind and water. There's thing energy is constantly in motion. The river is never the same twice when you step in it because it's constantly moving. So while people are really mourning what used to be, like, it wasn't going to be that way anyway. It's just there's been a rapid dissolving, a more rapid change. Um, so it says you are being asked to think in terms of long-term happiness, and sometimes this warrants change or even temporary restrictions in the short term. If you can't see how the present can possibly become what you sense the future to be, then this message is especially relevant. Through the natural process of transformation, great leaps are indeed possible. You simply must be prepared to surrender into the process with absolute trust and stay grounded like that mountain. Keep breathing. Don't overdo the holiday decorations. And I'll see you next month.